Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it, and shalom. Welcome to another episode of the Big Daddy Liberty Show. I'm coming to you from, we're in Newcastle, here in KwaZulu Natal, to essentially join what is the farming community here in this part of the world, in Newcastle, of course, and surrounding areas. And I must say, sadly, we're not here on a joyous occasion. We're here essentially to cover the Stop Farm Murders protest, which of course comes in the wake of the murder of Glen Vida Rafferty out here in Newcastle. It happened actually just on the previous, at the beginning of the week, excuse me. I've raised this issue before on the show. Farm murders are a national crisis. It goes beyond me just calling them farm murders. It is essentially rural safety issues in this country which are not being taken seriously by government. And it is, I think, this community, as you can see out in full force here today, who are having their say on this issue. So join me. We're going to be talking to farmers out here. We're going to be talking to some of the farm workers even, and really some of the people who just live in our rural parts of the country, as we ask them the question, what is life like for you living in the rural parts of, in this case, KwaZulu Natal? And essentially on issues of safety, what can we do to tackle the crime and of course to stop the farm murders? And of course I will be putting certain ideas to them which I think can definitely address the issue of the farm attacks and the farm murders. So you're watching the Big Daddy Liberty Show. This is the show. Remember, guys, if you want to support the show, make sure you find yourself as a Patreon subscriber. It's quite easy. I'll have that information in the link. And of course, if you don't want to do Patreon, you can find me on PayPal. It is you who donate that $1 a month who are allowing me to be able to get out and to cover these events. Because I can tell you now, I'm seeing a lot of mainstream media here. I'm going to keep an eye as to how their coverage will be on this issue, but you allow me to give you the alternative take on key national issues. So make sure you support the show. And with that being said, let's get the conversation going. I'm joined, of course, by some folks who are from, I'm assuming, from the area, but let me not waffle on. Let me actually talk to the folks themselves. Baba, Bhuti Sanbonani. Yazi njoba ngibona nilana la kulombhekisho. Ngibona ngathi kubalekile ukuthi ngikhulume nabantu abayingxenye of farming community yethu like KZN and really in South Africa. So mangiqale nje with a simple question. Ngikhuluma nobani namhlanje?
Ujabulani wakwamsili.
Baba?
Usamukelo wakwazwana.
Okay. Ni kuphi ne KZN nina?
Silapha eUtrecht eNgogo.
Utrecht eNgogo.
Oh, okay. Omkhaya ke. I think umbuzo wami usimple. Lolu suku why lubalekile kunina ukuthi niphimo lana nizo raise ama voices eni?
Lubalulekile kithi mqungebe lolu suku ngendlela engakazibona. Le ndoda elinyaziwe ibindoda ekaziyo ukuphila nabo wonke umuntu omhlophe omnyama ibiphila naye uboleka izinto zokusebenza kuye njengoba phela thina singakabi abantu abaqinile kwezomnotho beyikunika ingakuhlawulisi noma ingakukhokhisi izinto zakho ukuthi usebenze ngendlela ekhululekile uqede ubuyisela izinto zakho ingakushaji nemali ufike ubonge nehlukana yeah
ubeyingxenye yomphakathi wenu
ubeyingxenye enkulu yomphakathi wethu silimele babulele thina sonke ababulele yena yedwa kodwa basibulele thina sonke
yazi uma sikhuluma ngale ndaba yama farm attacks and really ungabe khona ukuphepha endaweni zasemaphandleni yazi kuthiwa lento le into ethinta abelungu kuphela hayikhuleka baba into ethinta abelungu kuphela thina abantu abamnyama siphephile kulezi indawo ngabe iqiniso lelo
asikholwa lokho mqungebe ukuthi singaphepha ngoba phela nohlasela umuntu ongumlimi kusasa singabalimi nathi kusasa le ndaba ize kuwe ukuthi namhlanje sikahlasela kodwa kusasa ibheke kithi yeah
Uthi mhlambe mangifake kule nkulumo awungitshele ngeimportance yokuba kwakho lana ubone isizathu sokuba kwakho lana. Why was it important ukuthi uphumuze la? Ngiyabonga baba.
Ikakhulukazi ukuthi sonke siyadingana. Mina ngiyifama esencane engenama equipments engenalutho, but abalimi abamhlophe ziningi izinto asebengisize kuzo ngangakhokha. Ngakhelwa idam for free.
Hayibo. Ulimani, if I can just ask.
Ama vegetables, soya, umbila.
Okay.
Sifuya nezimvu. Indlela even guidance. Uyithola kubo. I was selling iwool yami ngenye indlela. I said no, musu kudayisa ngaleyo ndlela. Go to this store. I sell directly. Then the income engiyitholayo, it's more than the income I was getting before.
Okay.
Because of the guidance they gave me. In farming, we are a family. There is no color, there is no white, there is nothing. We are just farmers.
Absolutely. Maybe as a final question, my brother, you know, there's a lot of people who look at this and think, wasuka ke lokho. You know, you're only here because uzosapota belungu or blah 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 blah. Maybe a short message from Wena to government. What must government do ukuze siphephise amaplaza ethu?
Angikho la kuzosapota belungu. Ngila ngizosupporta ifama.
Absolutely.
A farmer, a producer ukudla for our country.
Absolutely.
Without a farmer, despite of the scheme, race or anything, but this is a farmer and he is in a farming family. We don't have a skin in a farming family. We don't have a race in a farming family. If you can go to many farmers, when you arrive on their farms, bakhuluma isiZulu.
Into engaziwa leyo, by the way.
Yes. And so angeke sikhulume about something eyenzeka singekho. Angiyazi, angaze ngiyibone. The only thing I can tell you ukuthi in farming we are the family.
Absolutely. Baba, thank you so much for your time. I hope now uzothola ithuba lokubhekisha uraise voice yakho. Thanks Baba. But again, it was important for me to begin this conversation because again, you guys know I'm from KZN. This is my native land. We are farmers out in this part of the world. So we'll keep the conversation going.
My name is Jan Smith. I'm the chairman of the Amayuba Farmers Union, which consists of mainly 5 farmers associations in the area being Normandin, Ingogo, Newcastle, Groenvlei and Utrecht.
So thank you for your time. Again, this is such a critical issue, isn't it? Because again, the violence and really the lack of safety in our rural areas is an issue of national crisis.
Absolutely. I think you couldn't have stated it any better. It's an unwillingness to try and prevent what is not supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
It's a total lawlessness. We've got the greatest laws in the world on our law books, but they just are not applied to and not adhered to.
Are you from this area?
Yes, I stay in Newcastle area and I also farm in the area.
Sorry to bring a bit of a personal issue up, but did you know the couple were murdered?
Yes, I knew them very well. Mr. Rafferty was served with me on the Farmers Union. He was also a board member of KwaZulu. And his brother is also a very well-known vet in the area, which a lot of farmers also use in their cattle herds and things like that. So they were very well-known people.
You know, maybe it's final 2 questions. We just spoke to some farmers earlier on, black farmers, and again, I bring the issue of race just for the purposes of the conversation, because on this show we're non-racial and really someone's race is irrelevant to us. But I raise that issue because, you know, there's the stereotype that goes out that, you know, these events are just for white farmers, we'll be told. And, you know, you guys sideline black farmers. And we've just spoken to black farmers who spoke highly of the Rafferty couple and really the farming community here. Talk to me about that dynamic. Is there a quote-unquote racial tension in inverted commas?
No, there's no racial tension. I'm part of a group called in our area called the Ingogo Anti-Crime Unit, which is driven by black farmers. And the main idea there is that we are getting, pardon the French, but we are hurtful of the point of people stealing cattle and doing whatever they want, and there's no response. The racial tension that's been referred to specifically in the Normandin area, I believe, is created by the police mainly. because if there's a black farmer having a issue or somebody, a black occupier, then the police are there in their thousands. If there's a black farmer, a white farmer having an issue, it takes them 4 or 5 hours to get there, if they do get there. So there's no racial tension on the farms. There's no racial tension between the white farmer and his black workers, or the black farmer and the white farmers. The racial tension is caused by the police that are not adhering and applying the law the way they should apply to. And that then causes people to get uptight, that causes people to lose their mind, and they lose their patience, and then you get people taking the law into their own hands. And that's what we as a farmers union are really trying to prevent, and we are engaging the police. I'm having meetings on Wednesday as well with the National Police Commissioner on stock theft to try and get these things sorted out, because cattle are being stolen not from white farmers, they're being stolen from white farmers, black farmers, black old people, the old gogo that's got 2 cows, they steal their cattle. The criminals are the ones that we have to look after. It's not a white-black thing. It's a criminal versus a law-abiding citizen.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line of it.
Maybe as a final question, because I know you want to dash. I often say that this issue is one where all farmers, period, and all lives matter, by the way, that you guys need to stand together and really defend life, liberty, and property rights. If you had one message to the states and really other farmers in the country right now, what would it be?
Take politics out of our country. Stop to try and get votes. Look after the country and build the country for the next generation. And that can only be done by a united South Africa. And united South Africa means black and white, Chinese, Indian, doesn't matter what color your skin is. You have to work for the progress of South Africa. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
We're going to be with you guys today, and let's get this going. Thanks. Again, you heard it. We're going to keep the conversation going. As you can see, I'll just have Mbali turn around, show you the procession of vehicles as they begin to head out. Some of the farmers' equipment is already sort of far on. A very long procession. I'm talking perhaps even 5 kilometers worth of vehicles, combines, and the works. And we're heading to some of. Actually, let me not spoil that. I'm going to bring you images of exactly where we're going, and you'll see why it's such a powerful, emotive issue. Talk to me about the importance of today. Why are you here?
All our lives matter. All. I say all lives matter.
Absolutely.
And it's like everyone, we're all equal.
Absolutely.
We've got to be equal and stand united.
Absolutely.
If we're not going to stand united, divided we fall. And
Just
I'm not up for it.
Just a quick question. Are you from Newcastle?
Yes, I'm from
This murder to you, like, how did it impact you? Was it something that just brought it close to your home?
Yes, it hurt us because we know the people, while staying here in Newcastle, we know them very, very well. And a lot of our farmers, and it's very sad.
Because I feel our country is going backwards and something has to be done about it.
Maybe on the specific reason we're here, right? There's a massive issue when it comes to rural safety and really the lack of it. Are you a farmer? How has this
Yes, I'm a farmer.
impacted on you?
I'm a farmer, yes, and obviously it makes us insecure.
Absolutely. Guys, again, full support from us, and hopefully the message will get out today. Thanks, everybody. Why are you here? Are you part of the farming community, and why is this important to you?
Yes, I am a part of the farming community. Why does it have to come to this?
Absolutely.
I've got family that's farming. When am I going to have to do this for them? There's such a lot of problems in this country. It needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Besides what we are here for today, but I mean, gender-based violence, rape, and all that stuff. Why does that need to happen? Where is our police? Where is our security structures in this country? Why does it have to come to this? I don't understand it.
And so, can I just quickly say, I echo your emotion. I echo just the deep sense of frustration as to where we are as a country. Maybe as a final question, talk to me about you and your family and why this is critically important for you, and what we can do maybe as a farming community to improve safety and these sort of issues.
Firstly, I need to raise my kids in this country. I need to make sure that they have a future in this country. Not just my kids, but all the other little kids in this country. They're the future of this country.
Absolutely.
And what I think we as a community can do is we need to get together with our security companies in this town, our farming communities, the guys on the farms. We need to build our own security structure, whether we have to do our own security on the farms or whatever the case may be, do patrols at night. Everybody be on standby with radios if something happens, or if a farmer says he's going into town and is going back to his farm, have an escort with him, anything like that. We need to think a bit out of the box here.
Absolutely. And again, I'm really sorry to have, man, I really want to pray with you. Can we pray?
Yes, please.
Father God in heaven, as we, a family of South Africans, are here in this moment, I just ask that you bring healing, Lord. Healing to this community of Newcastle, healing to us as South Africans, people, Lord, who are a people of faith, flag, and our love of family and freedom. I just ask, Father, that you bring your spirit into this moment, and that you, Lord, guide our attempts here to raise our voices on the issue and to be heard, and for us as a community to stand together on these issues. Father, thank you so much for just your love in this moment, and I just ask, Lord, that you enter this vehicle, Lord, this family, and you protect them in this moment. All this I pray in your glorious name. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, thank you so much. And I'm again, it's, you're making me emotional, man. Because I talk a lot about this issue.
Yeah.
Hey man, you've got me going now. I talk a lot about this issue, and it's so frustrating for me as a South African to see how divisive this issue can be when it shouldn't be. The issue of farmers and really our families in this country being safe is not a racial issue. It's not just this community. It's all of our issue. And brother, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing that, my brother. Guys, I'm with you. The show is in full support of the farming community. We are with you. We are totally with you. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you for you guys for what you're doing.
Absolutely, man. Guys, we're with you. We're with you. Cheers, man.
Yes, enjoy.
Sure. Yo, you can see how emotional that issue is, man. And maybe a lot of you now understand why I sometimes get emotional about some of these issues. You saw, that is an ordinary man, a father of a household, breaking down in tears. And it's hard for me not to get emotional, because again, this is an issue that affects everybody. I spoke to farmers earlier on. You saw how this registers on a very emotional level. We're not here to play games. These are people's lives we're talking about. And that's why when I say issues like all lives matter, it's because people like him and the other farmers who I've spoken to, those are the people who I have in my heart. So there you have it. As the combines go past me, or truck in this case, goes past me, representative really of the entire chain, supply chain, that came out here to support this, from the very farmer to the farm worker, the individuals who live, the families who live in rural parts of Newcastle and really South Africa, representing South Africa in real terms, to the businesses, that transport the food from the farm to our tables, and to really some of the people who just are residents of Newcastle, the urban centre of Newcastle, who are consumers of the produce that comes from this part of the world, and our farms generally. Today they all got together to commemorate really the memory of the Rafferty family, who were murdered horrifically in what is becoming an all too sadly familiar trend in this country of families who live in rural parts of our country with no protection. With no protection, really, who find themselves having to face a very violent and at times targeted crime wave that is resorting to things like torture, and it's crazy, guys. It's crazy, and you could see it, I think, in the brief interviews that I had, the pain in people's faces, the pain in people's voices, as whole communities are shattered, left, torn asunder by the violent and murderous acts of those yet unknown, because we still haven't caught the murderers who did this. What breaks my heart the most is that this is not an isolated incident. I feel a sense of despair because if you watched vlog 47, which I've already put out, I did it here, literally, right? And I put it out live. You'll know that I'm beyond the point of feeling the way I'm feeling now. I think actual action needs to be taken. And as the guys take down that banner with the message and the question that it had on there, of really, this is a question that's directed to the government, rightly so, of, dear Mr. President, you, Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, how many more people need to die? How many more people need to die for you to understand that South Africans are tired of putting up crosses like these that represent each of the South Africans, really, especially in rural parts of South Africa, who have been murdered? How many more people is enough until you and your administration act? And again, I ask this not because I'm looking to you for any sort of leadership. You're as useless to me as a Soviet car production. I don't actually look to you for any leadership. But what I am asking this question is insofar as I can assure you now, my work, my groundwork, me going into these communities and talking to South Africans in rural parts of the country, in our townships, in our urban settings, is to actually say, you know what, the power's in our hands as South Africans. The power is in our hands as South Africans. We're not going to look to you and government. So I repeat what I said in that vlog. In terms of me being tired of the conversation of us being the victims, it's high time we as South Africans, as families, as individuals in this country, we start standing up and defending ourselves. That is the bottom line. So I'm going to repeat those 4 points I made in the vlog. Number one, in terms of what we do as a farming community, as urban residents, number one, we've got to organize. Stop believing your favorite politician is going to save you. That's not going to happen. You need to organize. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to your community structures. Talk to your fellow communities. Go door to door. Rally the South Africans around you. Do as I am doing, going community to community and oftentimes knocking on door to door to door. Rallying South Africans and saying, hey, how about we rally around ideas that empower us as families, as individuals, ideas, for instance, that err on the side of liberty, that reduce the influence and the power and the size of the state, and put all of those three things into your hands, the individual, into your hands as a family. That's liberty. And there are hard, concrete ideas that I'm pushing out in that regard. And then my values, the 4 Fs that I always talk about on the show, that I stand in these communities as BDL for my faith, the flag that represents this country, in all its diversity, the freedoms that we have as South Africans, and of course, the most important for me, family, the 4 Fs. That we stand not as races, not as genders, not as all these superficial divisions, but as South Africans under that flag, if you will, of those 4 values. So yeah, guys, I'm angry, I'm sad, but also I'm very hopeful because, as I said, 4 things that we need to do. Number 1, rally your fellow South African. Do the work, do the groundwork. Join me, do the groundwork, support me in doing the groundwork. Number 2, understand self-defense, the laws around it in this country, and how you can become an effective self-defender. Do not wait for government to save you. Do not wait for the South African Police Service to save you. Do the work. Know the laws, and then look at gun ownership. Inform yourself. Talk to the guys who are experts on these issues. Inform yourself, become a self-aware self-defender, and then when you're ready, take up arms, guys. Take up arms. It's critically important. Don't shy away from the topic. Don't cringe as I say this. Your life, liberty, and your property rights are your responsibility. Take up arms as an effective way to defend them. Number 3, which I think is super important, use technology. I keep saying this. Use technology. This community, this farming community, have leveraged on technology in order to really improve their safety. And I think they'll continue doing that. They're doing these 4 things that I talk about. Use technology. Understand, how to secure your home. And again, there are experts who can assist you in this regard. And by goodness, maybe I should have a show, and multiple shows, where we talk about these issues maybe in depth. But in any event, use technology, guys, to secure yourself and your family. And the last one is, don't look to government, look to the market, look to private sector and private initiatives that are community-based for us to be able to secure ourselves. Bring in the private security guys. Form your own private security initiatives in your neighborhood, something which is akin to a commando-esque way, a community-based policing forum, or rather a community-based forum where you guys take ownership of your safety, patrol your streets. And if you can do more of that as armed citizens in your neighborhood, I can assure you we can squeeze the crime and we can squeeze the murderous acts of violence out of our society. It's not easy, and again, I say this cognizant of what happened in this neighborhood and how this, even with those 4 things here in that neighborhood, we still saw the horrific murder of the Raffertys. And really, I express and I extend my condolences, guys. Tongue twisted by just the emotion involved in all this. But I extend my condolences to the family. So yeah, guys, I'm going to end this one over here after a very emotional day, but I think a day that needed to happen, and I will continue bringing these issues to the fore. Especially as I head into other neighborhoods too, where crime is also a equally horrific issue. I mean, some of the informal settlements I go to, the stories people are telling me, and maybe I need to bring those to you too. So you can understand that we're in this together as South Africans. There is no white, black, Indian, colored. We're in this together as South Africans. We face this crime wave, the violence and the murderous nature of our crime together. And if we're going to act, we need to act together. Those are my thoughts, guys. And shout out to, and a special thank you really to the organizers of this protest here who invited me and said, hey, BDL, come through, homie. And even though it was a long-ass trip from Cape Town to here in Newcastle, this is what I do. If you invite me out to your part of the world, I will come. I will come. Whether it's to cover a story, it's to address some people on liberty ideas, invite your favorite fat boy, your street fighter for classically liberal ideas. Invite me. Let's get these ideas into our communities. This is the ground war. And it is those of you who are supporting the show, this is what you're funding. You're funding my ability to travel the length and the breadth of this country, to fight for these ideas, to grab South Africans by the hand, to rally them, so that we can change this country. This is our country. It doesn't belong to the politicians. It doesn't belong to the elites. This is our country, yours and mine. You, the individual, us as families. Now, as these guys are struggling in the background here, maybe let me end it right there and say thank you very much for watching this episode of the Big Daddy Liberty Show, a very emotional one, but one which I think encourages you to act. Please support my work as I continue to do this, as I continue to go around, because it is this work that is funding guys, who are being part of the BDL team now. Mbali, for example, who's holding the camera, and Christoph in Cape Town. I'm actually able to now afford these sort of like professional guys who can help me put together these episodes. So support the work. I really appreciate that. You can do that, of course, by donating via Patreon, as little as $8 a month. That's 17, less than 20 Rand a month, guys, does it. So you can support via Patreon. The link to that is in the descriptor, or via PayPal by using the PayPal email address. Remember, don't send a message to it. It's just for PayPal. And that's BigDaddyLibertyZA at gmail.com. That's BigDaddyLibertyZA at gmail.com. You can donate as much as you want on there. And of course, if you want to actually get in contact with us, and we do read emails. In fact, Mbali behind the camera mans the emails. Send me an email rather, and that's at bdl@bigdaddylibertyshow.com. I'm going to repeat that. It's bdl@bigdaddylibertyshow.com. And of course, Mbali will relay your messages to me. And of course, guys, we'll soon get a number that you can call when you want to get in touch, especially if you want to invite me to your part of the world, either to do a small talk, or even just a groundwork campaign. Maybe you can invite me to your part of the world, and we can do door-to-doors, handing out pamphlets and leaflets that have a core basket of my ideas to get people interested, and then maybe I can come back and do a longer talk. So guys, let's get involved, start the groundwork. Let's do the ground war, if anything, and join me as we change this country and we fight for our faith, flag, family and freedom. With that being said, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, I come to you 3 times a week, Wednesdays on the BDL Show, the podcast that's sort of out on Fridays, and of course, late nights with BDL every Sunday at 9 p.m. Guys, thank you very much, and remember, never trust a commie.